Welcome to Just a Minute. Hello, my name is Nicholas Parsons, and as the Minute Waltz fades away, once more it is my pleasure to introduce the four knowledgeable and experienced broadcasters who this week are going to play Just a Minute. We welcome Derek Nimmo, Peter Jones, Tim Rice, and Stanley Unwin. Would you please welcome all four of them? As usual, I'm going to ask them if they can speak on the subject that I give them, and they will try and do that without hesitation, repetition, or deviating from that subject. Beside me sits Ian Messiter, who thought of the game. He also has a stopwatch in one hand, a whistle in the other, which he blows when 60 seconds are up. And we'll begin the show this week with Derek Nimmo. Derek, the subject, actors. Will you tell us something about that in this game, starting now?
John Gielgud, Laurence Olivier, Ralph Richardson, Sir Henry Irving.
Tim Rice is challenged almost immediately. Tim, what was your challenge?
It was a very lengthy pause. Hesitation.
It was what I call teetering on a pause, but not enough to be considered a fault. So we give it against Derek Nimmo, so he gets a point for a wrong challenge. He keeps the subject of actors. 55 seconds to go, starting now.
The first act, I suppose, took place in the wonderful plays of Plautus and Terence all those years ago in ancient Greece, and then Rome following that.
Tim Rice, the challenge again.
I say he has the opposite fault now. He's going so fast. I can't understand a word he's saying.
So deviating from the pace that he went before.
Well, no, it's just total lack of clarity.
I accepted your complaint, and I was trying to help.
Tim, you're doing well. It's good to hear from you. I don't agree with your game, but so let's... Derek Nimmo have another point, and 47 seconds to continue with actors, starting now.
Well, the English theatre began in the cathedrals of the Middle Ages, liturgical drama. It's very interesting. The very first actors in Britain were in fact monks, and the stock comic character, the nagging wife, was paid by a Franciscan in drag, and used to rush up and down the aisles of these great churches nagging old Mr. Noir.
Tim Rice is challenged.
Did we not have two naggings?
Thank you very much, audience. I was listening. For the benefit of the listeners whose ears aren't quite as sharp as mine, some of the audience were telling me they'd had two naggings, and they were nagging me then to remind me that it was a correct challenge from Tim Rice. He gets a point for that, takes over the subject of actors, and 20 seconds are left him, starting now.
There are some people who would say that actors are a shifty, lazy bunch of ne'er-do-wells. I do not subscribe to this controversial view. I have found in my long career in show business, particularly in theatre, that almost every single actor is a wonderful, warm human being, like Cardinal Richelieu was in the 17th century.
Whoever is speaking when the whistle is blown gains an extra point. On this occasion it was Tim Rice, and at the end of that round he and Derek Nimmo are equal with 2 points each. Tim, would you like to take the next round? And the subject is openers. Will you tell us something about that in just a minute, starting now?
When I hear the word...
And Peter Jones is challenged.
Very slow off the mark, I thought.
So there's Peter Jones, one of the long-standing members of this show, getting back at one of the newer members, Tim Rice. I think I was strict with Tim before, so I'll have to be the same with you on this occasion, Peter, and say it wasn't a correct challenge. So Tim gets another point.
Thank you, John.
And there are 59 seconds. You only waited for half a second, actually, on openers starting now.
The two kinds of openers that spring to mind are cricketing openers and things for getting into unopenable objects such as tins and cans.
Derek Nimmo challenge.
Well, if they're unopenable objects, you couldn't get into them, could you? So deviation.
Very good.
I think that's a very clever challenge which deserves the subject a point, and 50 seconds for you, Derek, on openers starting now.
Cyril Washbrook and Sir Leonard Hutton, for me, will always be two of the greatest openers that I've ever had the privilege to watch. At Old Trafford in 1948, striding in against the Australians at an enormous score against them, these two...
Tim Rice challenged.
I think Len Hutton was dropped for that game in 1948. No, it was a great controversy. They played George Emmett of Gloucestershire instead.
I don't think it was that game, actually,
Oh,
Tim.
really?
I think it was another game. But you tried very well and very hard, but didn't succeed, and Derek still has a subject. 30 seconds on openers, starting now.
I have personally the most interesting corkscrew, which I use to open bottles of wine, and I will show it to you after this game. You will be most intrigued, because you put it in and it has a kind of lattice effect. You pull out the... and there it is for you able to drink this marvellous beverage that lies within. I also...
Stanley Unwin has challenged.
Well, you did the corkscrew triddly how. It was and I thought there was a little hiatus there, or would you say an intersection flexion?
I will give you the point for that,
Okay.
and the subject as well, and tell you that you have 10 seconds to tell us something about openers, starting now.
Well, the poker bid is the first opener. You've got to find out and triddly how for trumps and call form. And then it'll keep joy digging the pocket. Ah, folly.
Stanley, at the end of that round, you got 2 points, because you got one for speaking as the whistle went. You're in third place behind Tim Rice and Derek Nimmo's in the lead. Peter Jones has yet to score, and he begins the next round. And the subject, Peter, is indiscretion. Will you tell us something about that in this game, starting now?
Well, it's very easy to be indiscreet or to drop a brick if
Very
you're in
Nemo
unfamiliar
challenge.
surroundings or
I'm
anything
sorry,
of that
he
kind.
bunged in an hour, I'm afraid. I hesitate.
He did bung in an didn't he? Yes. Yes. Yeah. I'm afraid you definitely had an there, Peter. It's I think he was very mean to
I
challenge.
wish I could get into some other show.
I mean, others might have let it go as you'd only just started. But
I know,
mean,
quite.
but, I mean, he's such
Other
a
chairman might have said that I merely teetered. But you see, you didn't say that. You only said it about Derek.
No, the teetering is when it's an actual space, but yours was an actual
I see.
And I said others would have let it go, but a competitive
yes.
player like Derek Nimmo won't. And
Never have George Cole on this show, because he'd never be allowed to talk about her indoors.
So 56 seconds, Derek, on indiscretion, starting now.
It is very indiscreet, in fact, to say in just a minute, because if you do, you're challenged by stupid people like Derek Nimmo, who are determined to win the game.
Peter Jones has challenged.
No one quite as stupid as Derek Nimmo. Isn't that what he said?
Yes, that's right. Yes, he did. But as in view of all the things that Derek Nimmo said about me over the years, I'm going to give Peter Jones a bonus point for that particular remark. But as I'm always fair when I do this particular job, I will still leave the subject with Derek Nimmo and tell him that he has 46 seconds to continue on indiscretion, starting now.
Today, I once went to a nudist colony, and there I performed the most extraordinary indiscretion. They were having lettuce for luncheon, and in came a total stranger, and one of the women there picked up one of the leaves of this vegetable and covered her private areas with it, and in came a rabbit, and you know what this beast did? It was so indiscreet you cannot imagine. Mind you, there are other places in the world you can be indiscreet, like the League of Nations.
Tim Rice has challenged.
2 indiscreets.
That's right, you were indiscreet before, and indiscretion is the indiscretion is the word on the card.
Who is it?
Yes, it is indeed, yes. So Tim Rice...
Indiscreet.
Yes,
Right,
indiscretion is the word on the card. Tim Rice has got him with 11 seconds to go, and another point, of course, and he starts now.
I'm sure there is a great deal of resentment among senior, aged members of this panel that young upstarts such as myself are indiscreet.
Derek Nimmo challenged.
Deviation. It's already announced that he's a senior member. He can't be a young upstart 1 minute and a senior member.
I think he was
No,
trying to
it's a
compare
great view
himself
as a
with
senior
you,
member.
Derek.
Oh,
I said, I'm sure there will be resentment among senior members.
No.
i.e.
The
you.
previous round, you said you were an old codger or something.
Oh, did I?
Well, if you didn't, you should have done.
Derek, I disagree with your challenge, Derek. Tim has another point in 5 seconds on indiscretion, starting now.
How bitter and twisted people become after a few years on this panel. I have noticed it.